Hey, it's Andrew. Welcome to Atomo. Today is Wednesday, November 16th in the late afternoon or early evening. Well, we still got a little bit of sunlight here up in Canada land. Uh, just wanted a little bit of sunlight and before everything goes crazy with family life. I just wanted to get in some thoughts here. Taking a look at with the G7, G20 that have been meeting. It's just so kind of the topic here is shenanigans that the young countries do, and it just seems like the older countries are holding the line. You might not agree with when I say older countries. Think of Russia, China. They have very old traditions. They've been around for a long time versus the colonies, especially if you think from a British crown standpoint, the colonies like the USA, Canada, Australia, and even the smaller countries that have split off from the former Soviet Union that are now in NATO. It's just like a bunch of kids that when something happens, they jump up and down going, oh, 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 that guy did it. That guy did it. I had some of my son's friends were over and we realized that there's one of the boys will tell white lies about what the other kids really have not done, but he will make up a story and he tries to get the parents to uh, get the other kid in trouble. But I turned around and I started to call him out for that. And I think this is a part of what's happening a bit, hopefully to de-escalate some tensions, because I think the older countries just understand. My viewpoint is just learn how to shake hands and do business. And well, there's all this throwing around, like when all else fails, they take you to war. Oh, it's like going out and blowing the credit card limit, and then, well, then I just have to somehow get the bank embroiled in some sort of war to forget about me. So we see things about the Taiwan Strait and U.S. Deputy Secretary of Defense Colin Call saying no one should doubt, as a quote, no one should doubt that the U.S. of America is the most combat ready in the world, end quote. I'm sure the United States people in the US say, yeah, we're number one. We got a great military. But also, how has that military really been tested? Like when you got a very determined enemy with equal capability and very strong resolve, more than the USA. And we have always seen USA more in police operations and overthrows of small regional powers, but not go head to head with a nuclear state. So don't want that to happen. It doesn't really move. So you have to think of geopolitics as a big game board. I like to think of either the game of Go or Civilization. If you ever played the Civilization franchise, then there's a certain amount of power projection and claiming of territory that you need in order to maintain a strong state on the board. If you're too small or you lack certain strategic resources in the game of Civilization, you can't build some of the more powerful units, and then your opponents can look at that as weakness and just come in and take you out of the game. So that's what, again, a lot I talk about in this podcast is energy with finances, and you match it with the resources to build the industry capability necessary to, uh, my opinion is to create a decent life for the citizens of your country. But of course, there's others that don't want that because they don't want countries, they want it all. So there's going to be other countries that, no, you're not getting it all, especially Europe. French Foreign Ministry called on Europe for autonomy from the USA. So you get this calls about there's tensions between the US. There's even talk that when it comes to the French is And this is just speculative subject. I don't have confirmations yet that even France might be building up military around the northern Italy area. Nobody's talking about that. I just hear it from some commentators. I have yet to get some additional feedback on that. Uh, and here we have, Sunak saying, back when G20 was being planned, there's people say, no, Putin shouldn't go to the G20. No, no, no. And then next thing you know, Putin's not at the G20. He's like, Putin's not at the G20. You bad leader. You should have been to the G20. You're not showing you're not showing proper um, respect to your colleagues in the G20. So again, it's the little kids in this little kids in this case. Even the UK sometimes acts like little kids. I think Queen Elizabeth. Let me drink some water. Just getting over a cold here. I think Queen Elizabeth was a stabilizing force in making sure that the UK had kind of a grown up in charge. And what I noticed with King Charles is, when he became king, he had to sign these papers. There was this set of pens. If you go back and look at the videos where he's signing some documents, saying a few days after Queen Elizabeth passed away, and there's these like look like fountain pens. And my joke there is, all great, we got the ballpoint pen king. Like he just got frustrated with these fountain pens. He's like shoo it away, or he's using a pen. He's like has this it's almost like he doesn't know how to use these traditional tools. Where and it is his demeanor also at the same time was more like a spoiled brat. Like, get this stuff away. But Queen Elizabeth was never like that. She'd just roll it with a joke. I don't know how she would joke about pens, but she always comes up with something that was just spot on and amazing. It just made you feel so at ease. So look at those little things when you look at how people's actions come into play, and talk about the little things. Oh, look, okay, well, Russia is firing missiles into Poland. Bad Russia. Well, okay, let's break it down a little bit. This is amazing. All of a sudden, boom, missile lands in Poland. We knew that there was a very big missile strike from Russia into Ukraine. Ukraine does have air defenses for intercepting these, and sometimes the air defenses they miss. Now, perhaps, and you have to take this with a level of subjective analysis. My assumption is S-300 missile gets shot, misses the target, comes down and lands. I don't know if these systems arm or disarm after a certain point. There's also talk that the S-300 missile system was converted to do ground attack. So I'm not sure if the missile flies and it intercepts if it's in the air. But if it misses and starts to come down, does it disarm? And realizes that, okay, I should have popped, but I'm coming back down. I'm going to disarm. Or to make it a ground attack missile, do you disarm those safeties? And now all of a sudden you got an artillery piece in a surface air missile. So up it goes, down it comes, blows up in Poland. Russia did it, Russia did it, Russia did it. The S-300 missile system, and looking over, we got some great people that look this stuff up, saying, well, it has a 120-kilometer range. There has been no missile tracks coming out of Belarus. Like, you can see the stuff on radar. And if it came out of Belarus, like, think about it. If it came out of one of these countries and the arc and track went into, just say, a NATO country, it's not Ukraine's not NATO anyhow, but it went into Poland, for example, and boom, you could check the tracks. And if Belarus were to fire a missile and were to land in Poland, it would be all over the news, and people would be showing the tracks, and all that information would be out there, right? Well, it's not the case, and you just get this conjecture that it must have been Russian because it's an S-300 missile system. That's like old Soviet technology. Well, it only has a 120-kilometer range, no tracks coming out of Belarus, but it's close enough to Lviv. And if Lviv's getting attacked and they shoot to intercept the missile and that misses and it happens to land in Poland, then now the little kids are jumping up and down saying, oh my God, we got attacked. So even with the G20 being in Indonesia and President Joko Widodo, he's even saying here that, hey, we're on this collision course with the new potential war. And basically, he's saying in a very diplomatic way, kind of cool your jets, people. So again, another elder country who's been around for a long time saying, like, come on. Notice also got another report here that when the missile strike happened, so you got the group of leaders who are in the G20, they're meeting, then they peel off. This is interesting. They peel off no one from the global south into a special security meeting, emergency meeting. No one from the global south. The only one from Asia is Japan. We know Japan is basically central bank captured. They're a part of the system. Their currency is dying and they need help. Then they'll have to rely on the collective West to possibly bail them out of a nasty situation. That's going to come at cost. So if your country gets bailed out, that yen has been printed to such a point where it's just been almost demolished. Japan's kind of a zombie country walking. So they get pulled into it as well. So all the people in the emergency meeting are the ones that are going to head nod to each other and say, yeah, 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 that's it. Got to be Russia. It's just their little block of people who are sitting at the game board just want to have their backroom thing and throw their shade around. But of course, legacy media is going to pick up on that and start to show that stuff all over the place. So, yeah. So, the other thing you think about, the joke that's going around is, well, if Ukraine fired the missile, Ukraine is not in NATO. They hit a NATO country. That should trigger Article 5, should it? Should it trigger Article 5? Should all those countries now come and take over Ukraine? Hey, doesn't Poland have sights on creating a little corridor from the south of Poland going all the way down to the part of the Black Sea through Odessa? Odessa all the way up to Lviv and carve that little um, piece out and give Poland access to the Mediterranean. As long as Turkey wants to play with that, then Turkey can play with that. So let's close off a bit here with there's video going around of Justin Trudeau meeting Xi Jinping at the G20. And in the video, what's basically happening is Trudeau's coming up and like what I my read on Trudeau is he loves being at these conferences and looking like, ooh, here's all the great leaders, here's all the powerful people. I get to play with them. And he has a bit of tough talk, but again, it's here's the theory of this call is she's hardly even looking him in the face in this video. It's kind of like turning away, looking at us, saying basically he, she will make a strong point to Trudeau. It's like, come on, in order for you to, you have to, I'm going to paraphrase it, is you have to keep this relationship in mind. I think what Trudeau did, and again, there's sort of conjecture here, so let's allege that Trudeau leaked concepts of what he's been talking about with G out to the media, and that kind of makes Trudeau look like, hey, I got this news out first. I'm cool. I'm making all these deals. Look at me. I'm awesome. Look, I can work with these people. I got the clout to move it around. And they're like, no. No. And so Xi Jinping kind of just verbally sat him down. And then in the video, Trudeau kind of walks out to the exit, much like an actor would after his part of the play has been completed. Exit stage left. Literally what he did. So that's the things going on for today. Realize my thought here is I believe that Trudeau he does play for the Davos crew, and he's probably looking for a very cushy position. My what I want to assert here in my podcast is I believe maybe he's even going for Klaus Schwab's when Klaus retires or moves on, that Trudeau is going to take his place, and that's probably why he's acting the way that he's acting. Is he has to show that he's got the big boy pants and he knows how to lead this stuff, and may work for the Davos crew. That's what I think, with Chrystia Freeland in a directorship position there, probably grooming Trudeau to take kind of the PR side, like the very public facing side. And yeah, you would look good for the part. He's kind of got that pretty boy thing going on, and he can dodge questions. If he's I'm in Canada, and I watch the Parliament channel. He can dodge questions very well, and come up with the counterpoints pretty quick. Even though he's not answering the question, he has his counterpoints already. And I think that will probably serve him well in a group like the Davos crew. So that's my thoughts. Anyway, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.